Hello, my name's Richard. I'm the pastor at the King's Church in Addleston in Surrey. Today I'm going to carry on talking about what I was talking about last week, which is lamentation, lamenting things. Last week I said that when we are overwhelmed, we bring our lamentation before God. We go bring our call and our cry out to God and say, I can't do this. I can't handle this. And I'm going to carry on talking about lamentation because I think we are living in a lamentable time. And so it is right to lament. And today, the aspect I want to look at in lamentations is that to lament is to say before God, this is not right. Whatever this is, there are many things that we can say that this is not right. This virus is not right. It's not right that it's killing people around the world. It's not right that it's ruining people's lives. It's not right that it's bringing us to lockdown. This is not right. And it is right for us to bring our lamentation before God and say, God, this isn't right. And so when we do this in lamentation, we identify situations or circumstances or events or actions and actually bring them and name them and say, this thing is not right. It's wrong. This is wrong. To raise our voice before God and say this is not the way things should be. And not just to put up with the pain and the sorrow and the death and the sickness and the injustice of our world and be silent and sort of just kind of think, oh, well, that's just the way it is. Or to just kind of give up any hope that things could be different. Because in being silent and not speaking about these things, we almost kind of give the impression to the world around us and maybe even to ourselves and to our church that, well, actually, this is the way of the world. That's it. That's all there is. But in lamentation and in bringing our laments before God, we say to God, this is not right. This is wrong. And we believe that things can be better and that things are better in you. And so it's okay as we lament to say that things aren't okay. It's okay to come before God and say, this is not right. This is wrong. Now the Psalms are full of laments like this. Psalm 80 is an example. Near the beginning of Psalm 80 it says this. It says, restore us, O Lord. Make your face shine upon us that we may be saved. Restore us. That speaks to us that the situation that the psalmist was in was not as it should be, or else it wouldn't need to be restored. Things need to be reset and made right when we call out for restoration. Restoration brings something back to its original intention, or its original condition, or its original form. And restoration really only needs to happen when things are not as they should be, where things are wrong, where things are not right. And so we call out to God for restoration. Restore us, O Lord. It's a bit like, I'm sure you've experienced this, when your computer or your phone, it gets corrupted or just gets so old or full that just slows down or just becomes almost impossible to use because for whatever reason it's just not working anymore. And you speak to somebody who knows about these things, as I've done in the past, and they say, you have to turn it off and you have to turn it on again. Or you have to restore it back to its factory settings. And there's something in that where we are saying that there's something right about this and it needs to change. And in order to do that, it needs complete restoration. It needs to go back to how it was right in the beginning. And there is so much in our world, isn't there, that is not right at the moment that needs a restoration. This is not how things should be. They need to be restored. So to bring our lament before God is to say before God that there is a hope that this isn't how things will be forever and that this isn't how things should be now, and there is a hope that they can be changed. There's a hope that reaches out to God and as the psalmist says, if he looks on us, if he looks to us, then things can be different. If he shines his face on us, that will bring transformation. The light of God will shine into the darkness and it will bring about salvation. It will bring about restoration. It will turn the things that are right and turn them round. The things that are wrong and turn them round into being right. Now, if there was no God, our lament will be pointless. I wouldn't be telling you to lament if there was no God. Because if there was no God, there would be no mercy, there would be no justice, there would be no hope, There'll be no power or authority. There will be no right and wrong in the universe. The lament that we might bring will be just talking to the air, because there'll be nobody listening. There'll be nobody who could do anything. There'll be no standard or sort of good that we could look to say, yeah, this could change into this. We would have no reason to moan, because actually life is just the way it is, and nothing's going to change. It's just kind of the luck of the draw in life. Some of us get a good draw, some of us get a bad draw, and nothing's going to change about that. So quit moaning. There's nothing to complain about. You just get on with life. But lamentation gives us something more than that. Lamentation acknowledges that this is wrong, because it compares this wrong to a right, maybe a right that we know from the past, or a future hope of a restoration that goes beyond where we are now. You see, as we lament, we remember the good of the old and compare it to the now and say, why aren't things now like they used to be then? Why are things so bad when we know that in the past things could be better? Or lament imagines a better future and says, this is wrong now, but we hope that in the future we are moving towards something that takes us from this wrong into something that is right. Because as we lament, we ask some maybe obvious and maybe some awkward questions of God. We might be coming before God and saying, look, you made things good. So why have you let them go to ruin? Why have you let things get as bad as they are? You're a good God, you made things good, and so why are we in this situation now? That's a good question to ask. It's an awkward question to ask of God. And Psalm 80 articulates that as well. It kind of retells some of the story of the Bible, where Israel was taken out of Egypt, and it likens Israel to being like a vine, and it says, you brought us out of Egypt like a vine, and then you cleared the ground around us for this vine to grow. And then you allowed this vine to flourish and for its boughs to stretch out even as far as the sea. So, having done that, why have you broken down the walls of protection of our garden? Why have you surrounded us with weeds and allowed those weeds to overtake this vine? Why have you allowed the wildlife to be eating away at us? Why have you burned this vine on the bonfire? This is not right. That's not what you do with vines. That's not what vines are for. Why would you plant a garden, look after it, nurture it, and then cultivate it, and then just let it go to rack and ruin, and let just knock down the walls and let just everybody trample over this garden and not enjoy the harvest and not enjoy the fruit of your labor? That is not right. It's not the way things are supposed to be. We may even know the answers to why God might have done that, or why the situation has got to the way it has, or maybe understand our responsibility and how this bad situation has happened. But that doesn't stop us lamenting. That doesn't stop us coming before God and saying, this is not right. This is not how it's supposed to be. This is wrong. And so we call out to you, God, restore us. Because sometimes we can't, sometimes, pretty much all the time, we can't restore ourselves. So whether it's our fault or somebody else's fault or just the world the way it is, we come before God and say, we need you to restore us. We need you to reset us. We need you to renew us. We know that in you things can be better, that this isn't right, and we know it can be right because we know you're a good God. And this is our hope, and this is our trust in the God that we know through Jesus. So lamentation takes the not rightness of a situation and it brings it before God, but it goes a stage further than just naming it. Not only is this situation not right, it's not right that my prayer is not being heard and the situation remains the same after my complaint. The psalmist says this, he says, how long will your anger smoulder against the prayers of your people? How long will your anger smoulder against the prayers of your people? There's that image of just like we're praying, we're asking, we're calling out to you, and actually we're just not getting an awful lot back. Nothing is changing. There's lament. This is not right. We're saying it's not right, and it's still not right. There's a struggle in this lamenting prayer. It describes this kind of wrestling with God. It isn't just speaking out the truth before God, and this is wrong, and then suddenly, bing, everything's made nice again straight away because we've bring our lamentation before God and He hears us, and everything just changes just like that. Lament is a wrestling with the wrong, and that includes wrestling with God with it. We wrestle with God. And we do that though, because we know that in God there is a hope that things may be made right. We know that our God is good. That isn't just a futile exercise. This isn't just wrestling for the sake of wrestling, but actually He is the one who is worth wrestling with. He is the one who can change the wrongs and make them right. He alone is the one who can rescue. He alone is the one who can save. He alone is the one who can bring restoration to us. And as Christians, we believe and trust in a God who is good and who does good. And it is right, therefore, for us to bring our lamentation before Him and say, this is not right. To bring the things that of the world that aren't right, and just bring it before God and say, this isn't right. And not to be silent, and not to just think, oh, well, nothing's going to change. And I've prayed before, nothing really happened. But wrestle before God, not to be silent, to be quite indignant before God and bring these righteous cries out to Him and say, we need that restoration. We know things can be better. We know things can be transformed. We know things have been better in the past, and we know that things are going to be better in the future. But right now we call out to You and say, this is not right. Help us, Lord. Restore us. So I encourage you, particularly in these times, in these difficult times, bring your lamentation before God. Don't give up hope and don't give up speaking out to God, but bring that lamentation. Call out to Him. Use the words of the Psalms. Restore us, O God. Make Your face shine upon us, that we may be saved. Let Your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. May you know the grace and the mercy of God as you call out to Him through Jesus. Amen.